All right, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and do like a full rundown of the video you sent. Um, in the end of it, I'm gonna go over some more like an overview. But I do have like specific timestamps that I want to go over um, in this video. So let me just go ahead and get into it. Kind of skip forward. Um, but so before I get into it, actually, just keep in mind that the things I'm gonna cover aren't necessarily just to get you out of bronze. They're just to get better at the game as a whole. And I do understand that a lot of these things you probably don't even consider yet because you are really new to the game. That's fair. Like I can't give you or I can't blame you for that one. Um, so just try to take this as like objectively as possible because I do have a lot to cover. And specifically, it starts right now. So already this is you messing up in the game. I actually kind of went past it. So typically, when you start in every game, you want to protect your jungle entrances. So in League, the jungle entrances are here. Actually, let me choose a better color. It's right here if we're looking at the minimap. Right here, right here, and right here. Typically, what you want to do in League is have a 5-point defense. So this is like top lane's usually right here. Jungle's maybe right here. Support, AD, and then mid somewhere in between because they're able to help both sides, right? Now that's like the general strat. There are some other instances where maybe jungle wants to invade to get a deep ward here or here, but that doesn't always happen. And so just keep in mind that the 5 point is typically what you will see in League, like excluding invades and or whatever have you. But of course you didn't do that. Instead, you kind of just went to lane and nothing else. Um, this is kind of like a it's one of those factors where it's like you're it's not that you're necessarily hurting the game even though you are. It's most sure that you're just wasting time. League is very time intensive, as in the time that you spend doing something is very crucial, and here you're just walking back and forth. I mean, you're not the only one. This is bronze. Like Varus is still AFK. Warwick is solo invading when he could have easily died to any defense if they're 5 pointing. Which again, this is why actually, if anything, this highlights why the 5 point is important. Because if you were to flip this, and let's say you were I don't know maybe bot side you were playing AD or support, because I know you like to play Draven. Um, if any of you was right here or right here, you could have easily stopped this ward that he gets in the red. And early game vision is nuts because that sets the tempo for the rest of the game. Um, so I like again keep like that ward he gets right there. Big example as to why it's important to set up that 5 point. Another reason, or another thing rather, that I want to cover is that this whole thing. I'm not gonna say you have to do this, but I highly encourage you to disable chat until you get to at least like maybe diamond. And even then maybe to like diamond 2. Because this is I see this throughout the whole game, and it's such a waste of time. You see how Lux and Kha'Zix are typing to each other, doing absolutely nothing as Warwick is solo invading and getting a free ward. Like this is huge. This is nuts, and a higher elo jungler can use this to dominate the game. This single ward at the 52-second mark. So again, early game laning super important to get that 5 point defense. And again, like I said, you kind of don't do anything. You kind of just walk around a bit. You emote. It's a really nice skin, by the way. But getting emote, do nothing. And then another thing that comes up is your jungler goes straight to his red. I don't know if you're expecting him to go to blue because he was getting a deep ward, but he goes straight to his red, and you don't you don't leash him. Again, this is not good. Leashing your jungler doesn't just help him; it helps you in a certain way. And what I mean by that is the faster he can get this cleared through his jungle and start applying pressure to the lanes, the faster you can have an easier lane, I guess. Because if he's applying pressure bot side, that means Kha'Zix has to either counter that pressure or maybe apply pressure somewhere else. In any case, you know what he wants to do, right? But if you're not helping him do that, then you're kind of not only are you extending his clear, but you're extending or you're kind of hurting your lane in a sense. So, especially when it's free like this. Now, there are certain instances where certain champions don't want to leash because I want to apply super early pressure, which is kind of like a cheese strat if I'm being honest. But I guess. But honestly, in this early elo, you I don't want to sound mean, but you probably won't know how to apply that pressure properly enough to in order to have that be a viable strat for you. And actually, we see it in this game. Um, so here we go. You walk in the lane again. No leash. Typically, when you leash them, it spawns at 130. Typically, you want to leave around 138. And then so that way you get to lane at around 142. So you don't miss any CS. For that, sometimes you may miss pressure if they didn't. If they didn't leash either. But honestly, like it's kind of negligible depending on the lane. Also, a big thing to note here. So this the Kha'Zix right here, we see him starting red, right? If you didn't know, typical jungle path ends at around the 3-minute mark. So what I mean by that is he's gonna start red. I don't know Kha'Zix jungle clear exactly, but typically it's red to Krugs to the blue camp here, and then to Gromp or to Scuttle or to you. Those are the options he has, but typically it's this like J formation into these options. Now Gromp will give him level 3. Actually, I believe Blue gives him level 3, but Gromp will give him the option to be a higher level in order to fight you. So, he has this option, right? This is going to happen at the 3-minute mark. He's going to be at your side. It's something to keep in mind and something that a lot of people don't realize, but when you're in a solo lane, like top lane, it's super, super important to understand the jungle timing. Because if you know he's starting red, then you know for a fact that at the 3-minute mark, he's going to be on your side. 100%. Now, in this game, I don't remember if you get punished for it, but we can go ahead and see. So already right here, it's another mistake. So what you're letting her do right here is you're letting her you're letting her decide the tempo of the lane, right? Because you're kind of staying at your back line while she's over here pushing the wave. Now the reason it's important that she's pushing the wave here, it means that she's gonna hit level 2 faster than you. Typically in a lane when you bring Ignite over something like TP, you're playing specifically to advance your lane, because that will in turn decide the tempo of the game. Because if your lane is advanced, they have to send more pressure to you, and that relieves pressure from other lanes, right? That's like a basic concept. But the moment you don't start using that to your advantage, the Ignite advantage, you start losing the whole purpose of taking the summoner in the first place, really. So I'm not saying just run at him level 1, although depending on the matchup you can. But I'm saying don't let her decide this tempo. You're playing back here while she's playing right here. You're already stating that you're too scared to fight, knowing that Kha'Zix is bot side, knowing that you took Ignite, and knowing that she doesn't have any Ignite of her own. She has I believe she has TP in this game. So you're essentially just giving her the lane for no reason at this point. And the reason level 2 this is important is because level 2 is huge in any lane really, specifically in 1v1 scenarios like this. Like level 2, you can literally just run her down because you know that you have 2 spells and she has 1. That's literally it. That's literally all it is. So again, she's hitting the wave, she's pushing, and you're not. You're looking at other lanes right now. I think it is important to look around the map and be aware of what's going on. But there's a couple of mistakes with this too. One, you're using your minimap to do so, which isn't. It's not like it's inherently a bad thing, but it's not the optimal way to do it because this takes some time. You have to click away, and in that time you're spending clicking away, it takes some time that you're trying to CS, especially in this early game when you're trying to get level 2. Now I'm not saying to not look at the map, but more so, there's binds in the league settings that you can use to do this. Specifically, they're default binded to your F keys, I believe. But you don't have to use it. You can rebind it. I actually recently rebinded mine to Alt 1, 2, 3, and 4. I know some people just rebind them to Z, X, C, and V. So it really just depends on your preference. But try to get rid of this habit. Not looking around, but clicking on the minimap to do so. Again, it's not terrible, but there's better ways to do it. And specifically, you notice it here because you have to click away, and then you click back. And again, not only because you're positioning, you're in the back line right here, you're not hitting any of the waves, you start to lose CS for this. Which is, again, you are playing for the lane. When you take this, you're playing for the lane advantage. When you start to give up that advantage for free, you're devaluing this. You're devaluing this, and you're devaluing Garen as a whole because he's generally a lane dominant champion. That's why you play him. So you are already giving up leads, essentially for no reason. Again, you miss your first CS there. I mean, this is one CS. It's not terrible, right? But this kind of compounds for the rest of the game. Because there's other times that I see that you kind of miss this free CS, if I'm being honest. And again, so we know Kha'Zix is bot side. You're looking at Warwick. This is 2 minutes in. I don't know why Varus is leashing this, but you have to realize this doesn't matter. Because you're trying to focus on your gameplay. What I mean by that is, like, for the rest of the game, I think this game ends up being a stomp. You can't really focus on that, because you have to look at your play and what you did. So I'll get more into what that means in a bit, but just be aware, like, this is so dumb. I don't know why he's leashing at fucking 2 minutes 11, but whatever. So right here, this is the point where he gets level 2. And you kind of look away for that. So if you didn't know, in solo lanes, it takes 7 CS to get level 2. And the exact 7 is the first wave completely. You got to absorb the first wave XP. And then on the first melee creep that you kill, so that's the 7th minion in the lane, you get level 2 XP. Here, she dings level 2 while you're looking away. I don't know if you didn't notice, but there's an audio cue. Of course, there's like a little flash if you're actually looking at her. So she gets level 2. If she... Not only does she get level 2, but she has this huge wave advantage because you're, again, not hitting the wave at all. You're kind of just letting her dictate the tempo of this lane, as I said before. In higher elo games, you get giga punished for this, right? You get super punished if you're this low and you know Kha'Zix is coming up into your lane at 3 minutes in. They could potentially dive you super early. I mean, obviously not at full HP, but this is an option that they have. This is already a losing lane state, if you didn't know. So again, and then now that you walk back up, just because it worked in this situation, doesn't mean it was the right play. If this was literally a player with a brain, they just walk up to you and start. They don't even have to use abilities. They start autoing you. Because, I mean, obviously you have Q to silence them, sure, but they have this minion wave that will, like, shred you if you try to fight her in it. All she has to do is Q to you as she's walking to you, then start walking at you. I believe they take W second. She Qs and Ws and walks at you. What do? Like, nothing. You literally have to run away, sacrifice this minion, sacrifice possibly XP and take free damage. Yeah, you're Garen and you can soak it up with your passive, but you shouldn't have to rely on passive. You should use passive as a tool, but you shouldn't use it as like a handicap, if that makes sense. Like, you shouldn't rely on it, essentially. Like, if you're playing this lane right, this never happens. Let me get rid of this. So again, look, she's letting you walk up because she's dumb. This should never happen, right? Boom. You again, this is kind of like miss free CS. I don't want to sound like I'm being mean, but the CS that you missed at 3 is super huge. So typically, what I would advise is, honestly, like, you would go into like a practice tool, if you know what that is, and literally just CS as Garen in lane with these items as level 1. Like so you just go level 1 with a Doran shield and a pot. I mean, you don't really need the pot, but the Doran shield or whatever you would take, and go into lane and try to get aim for the closest you can get to 10 CS a minute and end it at 10 minutes. So that would be 100 minutes, or sorry, 100 CS at 10 minutes. The reason you would practice that is if you can do it without, or sorry, if you can't do it without any pressure at all, then what makes you think you would be able to do it with a lane pressure like this, right? And of course, it just gets you into the habit of CSing properly. Typically, you would want to practice that without doing any abilities, so just your right clicks. That way you get used to the timing of your attack speed. But don't be afraid to use abilities to CS. Especially on someone like Garen, where it's literally free. All you're paying is a cooldown. And in this, like, obviously the cooldown is important. Oops. But it's not, in this early in the game, it's not detrimental. At least not yet. So again, see, you're letting her dictate the whole tempo of the lane. This huge-ass wave, obviously you can't find her in it. And you don't ding 2 because you didn't get the backline from the previous wave. So you're not going to ding 2 till the second minion of the second wave, which is this right here. Right, there you go. Dictates the lane. Um, Now, I will say this: I do see you moving around in lane. You do have to. So I see what you're doing. It's the wiggling, right? You're walking up and down forth. That's actually good. I will say that you just need to work on the speed of it. It gets really better when you can spam it in lane, because then they start trying to question where you're gonna go. That's where it's better. But I do see that you're doing it, so that's definitely good. People don't even do this up to like low plat, so that's good that you're starting to work on it now. Um, okay, so you go and then you. So this is where you made a really really big mistake that in any other game you would have been super punished. So specifically, you choose to go in this fucking gargantuan wave that she has over you. Not only that, but look at the timer and try to keep in mind what I said earlier. It's 2:48. Kha'Zix will be at topside at around the 3 minute mark. We know this, or at least we should know this, right? So if you're choosing to fight her here, not only are you at a disadvantage in the 1v1, but you are already in a disadvantage because of the potential 1v2 that she's threatening. Um, so again, you go in, and sure, you're Garen, so you can do some good TPS on her, and also she played it really bad. But we can't focus on that. We have to focus on your mistakes, right? Because in bronze, they're gonna make so many mistakes all the time. It really doesn't matter. In order to get out of bronze, we have to focus on yours, right? So again, you do get a decent trade because she's dumb and she doesn't like use anything at all on you. Um, but then pay attention to your health and how much you actually took. Sure, you didn't lose the trade to her because she didn't use anything, but look how much damage you took because of the minions alone. Imagine if she actually used anything on you. Uh, that it's just it's a good general rule of thumb. If they have a bigger wave and they have a jungler by their side, don't fight them. Really. Um, so again, we play more gear up. Again, it's more free CS. I don't want to repeat it too much, but it's something to keep in mind. Again, the practice tool will definitely help. Um, it's hitting CS. More miss free CS cannon's huge too. This is where I see you starting to do something good, kind of. Well, it's good and it's bad. So it's good in that what you're doing right here is what you should have been doing since the beginning of the lane. You see how you walk up and she's scared to fight you? It's because you're fucking Garen with Ignite. She knows that. You know that, right? This is what you should have been doing since level 1 in the lane, not like now at this point. Because now at this point, not only are you lower than her, but remember the gank timer again. We know Kha'Zix is top side, so she can threaten with something of her own at this point. But if you were doing this earlier, she wouldn't have been able to do so. So again, you walk up to her, boom, you're zoning her. This is really, really good in a general rule of sense. This is a good spot to be in, because now not only are you zoning her from the gold, but you're zoning her from the XP at this point. This is huge. The only thing I would say is that you have to keep in mind that this will be better. Like, it's good that you're zoning her, but it's better if you hit the CS. You just right here, you let it die for free. So the reason I say that, it's you can literally think about it in terms of math. So if she misses one cannon minion, or sorry, one caster minion, I think it's like 16 gold, right? So she's at minus 16 gold, right? If you if you get yours, you get plus 16 gold, right? So you can think about it in total. Now if she's missing 16 and you're gaining 16, this is an overall plus of 32 for you. Um, it's a weird way to think about it, but it's how you should think about it. Now, because you zoned her, she still got the minus 16, but you didn't get your plus 16. So this only ended up in a 16 net gain versus a 32. That is a small. Sure, you can think about it. Sure, it's just 16 gold, right? But this happens throughout the whole lane, and it adds up. It adds up throughout the whole game, and it's important to realize, because when you're playing in these low elos, you don't necessarily want to rely on your team. Not saying that you can't, because it's perfectly okay to get carried sometimes, but you don't want to make it a habit of getting carried every game. It happens. I get carried some games in Diamond. You're gonna get carried some days in Bronze. It happens. People have bad lanes, but you don't want to make it so you're getting carried every game, because that's when you start just not improving, right? You want to play the best that you can in every game. So in this game, again, it happens a lot, and this again goes back to the CS that's missed for free. which is something that can easily be worked on. So it's a big deal, but it's not like it's impossible to fix. Oh, it's 14. See, and then again, this is what I meant by the gank timer. So, like I said before, we know Kha'Zix is topside. This is why he's able to come here. It doesn't even matter if he kills you at this point. What he's coming here for is lane pressure, because now you have to give up this. What you're doing right now is building a wave to be able to push in your tower, which would essentially make her lose. Not only would it help her lose pressure, it would give you a good back timer, right? Which is something that I do want to cover this game, because it's the back timing in this game is horrid for you. But he comes in, pressures. We know this. I call this since like 30 seconds in, and you take a bunch of free harass that you wouldn't have if you had played the game earlier, a minute beforehand. All right. Kind of fast forward. I mean, like, uh, she leaves the lane. This right here is you essentially didn't look at the map. Is what happens, cause she walks back, right? Hold on, let me go ahead and make sure. Yeah. So she's being pressured right now by Warwick. You should definitely have followed immediately, cause you see Warwick coming in from the jungle. Let me go back to that. Actually, it's pretty important. You see her coming away from you, right? There's only two possible ways she can go, literally. Well, no, I mean, not literally, but in this state, yes. She can either go here or she can go here. Now, because we saw Kha'Zix already, we can assume Kha'Zix is in this area, right? So if Warwick is coming here and Kha'Zix is here with Diana potentially, he's looking at a 1v2 situation. So what you should have done immediately is walk towards him. That way it's a 2v2 that not only, it's not even on equal terms, because you have Ignite, she doesn't. You guys have summoner spot advantage. You can definitely win that, and you're Garen. You know that. You have super early game damage. But that doesn't happen here. You kind of move really late, and it leaves him in a 1v2 situation. Not that it's detrimental to him, right? But it definitely could have. You could literally just have, if you had walked up and sandwiched them, you could have potentially gone a free kill or even free harass. Which brings me to my next point here. You get a really, really, really awkward roam in here that shouldn't really work. So, generally speaking, when you want to roam is when you have pressure on your lane where they have to respond to it. So what I mean by that is if your lane was over here, like your minions were over here, that would have been the perfect time to roam. Because your wave is crashing into them, so Diana has to be here in order to catch it to get her XP and gold, or she's down on both, while you get a roam for pretty much nothing, honestly. But that's what happens here is the opposite. What happens is you roam on the perfect Diana roam timer, and not only do you do that, but you kind of do it for no reason, because you're going to go mid, assuming Diana is going to be there. But we saw Diana go back into the enemy jungle, specifically right here. We saw her do this. I don't know why. She should have gone over there, true, but we saw her come over here. So not only are you losing XP and gold, but you're losing a chance to freeze the wave, which would absolutely kill her in this scenario. It would actually just ruin her game for the rest of the game at that point. If you don't know about lane freezing, it's kind of hard to explain. But typically what you want to look for is 4 minions being left over from the previous wave. That will create a freeze, which is what you had. So again, you get this poor roam timer for absolutely kind of free. Or for them, essentially, not for you. And you didn't get anything off of it, right? You kind of just, you typed, which is funny. And I guess it was funny, sure, but again, this does nothing for your game. This is absolutely nothing. All this info, why'd you steal him? I had him. Talking about casting, like, this is like the epitome of bronze. This doesn't matter. So again, see, like, if you didn't even realize, your lane froze naturally, because again, you had 4 minions. If you didn't see it before you pan the camera, you had a cannon and three casters, right? So that is the perfect amount to freeze, and it did. It froze right here. If you had kept up this freeze, which granted you probably don't know how to do so I can't blame you too much. But if in theory, if you had kept up this freeze, she would have had to permanently play at this spot in the lane, because we've already seen you can zone her. So if you're zoning her from XP past this point and you have your lane frozen here, She's literally giga fucked for the, like, I'm telling you, she literally can't play the lane for the rest of the game, and it's essentially a 4v5, and you auto win. Like, the game could have been, if your team wasn't doing well already, you could have solo won through this point in the game, but you didn't. So it's again, it's like small things like that that literally decide the tempo for the rest of the game, just like that. Just not paying attention to the 3 casters and the 1 cannon changed the game state. Potentially could have changed the game state for the rest of the game. So now she walks up again here, because she has the minion advantage because you weren't thinning the freeze. She can just walk up to you, which is fair. But even though at this point, like you still have ignite, you still have fighting potential, and look, she just runs away for free. Which brings me up to the next point. Again, you're not looking at the map, so we see Warwick coming up here. We see him at this point right here. You have flash and ignite. You literally can just flash Q, ignite E, W, or WE, whichever, I forgot the correct order, but you know what I mean. You do your combo. That's the like bread and butter Garen, right? She has no escape because she's silenced, and not only that, she's fucking Diana. What is she gonna do? She has to walk away or flash. She flashes, like, at this point, she's gonna get to like right here, maybe, right? Maybe. But Warwick is already right here. Warwick can literally just run her down at that point, and because she's gonna be giga chunked because of the combo you have, right? But what happens? You have so much time. You had like, at this point, you could have done it there. You literally had ample opportunity to kill her. That would have been a free kill for you. But she just runs away for free. Which again is also a side consequence of you not thinning the way before, because now it's pushing, right? If it was frozen, it would have been free already. So it's again little things like that. Now, again, this is something that I can't believe I skipped over this. Sorry, I have these timers that I'm like, or these timestamps that I wrote down on the back that I'm like looking back and forth at. But so again, so the gank didn't work out fair, right? Sure, it happens, I guess. In this elo, you can't always look at the map. It happens. I do understand. But look at what happens here. Sure, she doesn't even, she hits you with like a Q, which does like what, 57 damage, right? I think. If that. So, look at what happens here. Look at your health, right? She took 57 damage from that. Nothing happens. But look at what you do here. As a side consequence of you not thinning the wave before, keep in mind, this is something that has been happening, like, we've been tracking this already, right? This is all from you not maintaining the freeze from like a minute ago. Look at what happens to your HP because you're tanking this wave. Again, not even, this is a horrible spot to be in. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 minions attacking you at this point. Look at what happens to your HP. 7, 8. Now you have the whole wave. You're down to half. So, like, sure, Diana Q did 57 to you. Look at what this did to you. This did like 400 to you. That's huge. That's absolutely fucking huge. You essentially took like a full combo for free from Diana just by tanking that wave. Sure, again, you're Garen. Sure, you can use your passive and you have a pot. That's fair, right? I guess. But not really. Because now you just use pot for free. Now you have to rely on passive. Or not, rather stay back on passive until you heal up. And you're giving up aggression, which you shouldn't have to. She, at this point, if you're like still 75%, she cannot walk up to you here. Because she's still scared of Warwick, even though she doesn't know he backed. And you still have Ignite and Flash. Like, it's kind of bonkers that she's able to walk up here. Healing up, sure. Happens. Again, this is kind of just like regular lane stuff here. Again, you should be working on your CS. Working on auto canceling. If you didn't know, you can press S to stop your auto, and you can press Q to reset your auto. If you don't know what either of those means, we can, I can go over them for you. But it's an auto reset is like it resets the timer of your auto attack. It's kind of hard to explain it honestly if I don't show you, but you might know what that means already. But use that to CS. Don't be afraid to do that. Especially at this point, like you're 20 CS at 50. It's not good. It's especially not good because the ideal perfect CS timing is 10 CS a minute. So you're under half of that. At this point. So, again, simple things like that, it's easy to work on. Here, just mating. And again, this is kind of a side consequence, right? You can't really fight her anymore because you got Giga Chunked by the wave because you didn't, again, because you didn't thin it before. Happens, right? I think I can skip a bit here. How is this sled played out? Ping dragon. See, these are small things. Well, not small things. These are things to keep in mind. You get because it's I think it's kind of weird that you're looking at the minimap before it when there's literally no consequence to it, like Varus, fucking leashing at 2 minutes or whatever, or like Ori mid or something. It's just weird things. But pay attention to here. I mean, you might have, and you didn't actually look at it, but Warwick is doing Dragon. Now, it's important to realize because that means your jungle pressure is bottom right now. So you shouldn't expect any top pressure for you right now, right? Fair. Not only that, this gives Kha'Zix two options. If he has vision, he's going to go here. Most likely he doesn't. We can assume that because Leona and I think it's Caitlyn. I forgot who their laner is, but they're not moving either. So if they're not moving, we can assume they have no vision. Meanwhile, Fizz and Jungle are missing, which potentially in higher elos this would mean a dive for you because she has a big wave to push in, and you're half HP already. Let's see what happens. I don't remember exactly what happens. He takes Dragon Free, and I think they chase him down. Again, this is a side consequence of not resetting your autos. You could have gotten all of that. You didn't use Q to last hit that. Like, simple things like that. Go. Just more like, this again is where you're zoning her because you hit 6. Fair. That is fair. I mean, but you are half HP. So it's you could essentially, like, if you're 6 at this point right now, what you're doing is zoning because you're half HP. If you didn't tank the majority of your health bar before, you could literally just run her down at this point. But of course right now you can't because you don't know where Kha'Zix is, which is fair. But these are things that it's like an option that you don't have anymore because you didn't play it right before. And it's not necessarily that you're supposed to use the option every time you get it, but she's supposed to be scared of these options. That's how you provide pressure to your lane. That's how you relieve pressure from other lanes. That's how you essentially can solo carry the game just by the way you play. You see them moving. It's fair. She does have TP, so you do have to threaten, or you do have to be scared of what she's doing here. But so what do you do when she does this, right? If you see there's a huge fight going here, you can assume that the pressure is here. Mid's here for sure. Diana's missing. Diana may want to look to TP here, right? Your response, since you don't have TP, is you have to punish her for that TP. In this case, it means pushing in this wave, right? You push in this wave, sure, you don't get a kill. But what does a kill really mean? I think a regular kill with, like, no bounties or anything, it's like 200 to 300 gold, right? And you got to think of this game is in terms of gold, because if she's getting that 200 to 300 gold advantage, it can be mitigated by the amount of CS she's losing from not getting this, right? If you can get her to lose this, it hurts the amount of gold she gains from this overall. If there's, like, you have to think of terms of League in those terms. Here we go. So again, you don't really push. You kind of look to the last hit, and of course she doesn't TP, so it doesn't matter in the end, right? But it's something that you didn't threaten. Again, just shenanigans. We see Fizz mid. We don't see Kha'Zix topside. But here's the thing. So we don't see Kha'Zix topside, but it can be assumed. Why? Because Kha'Zix didn't show up here. And we see Warwick already in the bot side. So if Warwick is, like, eating his jungle on the bot side, there's really only one other place Kha'Zix can be. He's not at the wave here. He's not here, and we don't see him here, right? We don't see him here. So where else literally can he be? Right here, right? We can assume that, which is bad because you're choosing to take fights when you're already half HP and he's already there, essentially, right? Sure, you end up winning this, which is fair, but you have to keep in mind, like, you're winning this because you're in bronze, not because that was the correct play. And I don't want to seem mean when I say this, but, like, you shouldn't be playing to win in these elos. Like, sure, or okay, maybe I worded it wrong, but you shouldn't be satisfied with a win, because even when you're getting better, you still might lose the game. That's fine. You're not playing to get better. You're playing to improve. Because when you improve, your elo will naturally reflect it. The better you get, the easier it'll be to get out of bronze, right? This stuff that you're doing right here, sure you win the game, but it doesn't mean anything overall if you didn't improve. Because then you're gonna play the same game next game, and if you have a worse team, or if the jungler was here, or if you got punished for any things before, then you lose because you didn't improve on it. But of course you kill her, it's not bad. But then this is where you fuck up. It's a huge fuck up that you don't make up for it at all, and it's really the worst thing you did this game that would have lost you any other game. So right here, when you kill her like this, you have two options. She has TP, so you know she wants to TP back into the lane, or possibly, but you want to force her to do that, because then if you get rid of her TP, then you are essentially not only do you have or you get rid of her TP advantage, but you kind of gain something. Because your ignite timer is only 3 minutes. It's like 2:55 to 3. Her TP timer is 5 minutes. So you're going to have ignite before she can TP again. That's something that you have to definitely keep in mind, right? So what do you do in order to force TP? Well, in this case, you would push. You have two options here. You would either push or maintain this freeze, because remember what I said earlier, you need about 4 minions, and you have 3 melees in a cannon. This would freeze. And this is a good spot to freeze. So what you should do at this point is actually back and maintain this freeze and come back in lane. The reason I specifically say back instead of forcing the push here is because we don't see Kha'Zix. We do not see Kha'Zix, and we see Warwick in his bot side, so we can assume that he's in the top side, right? So if we can assume he's in the top side, if Diana TPs while you're pushing, they can just get you in the 1v2 scenario. Boom, you're done. So this is where you get the perfect back timer, right? Because you back here, and she has nothing to punish you with. You back here, not only is the wave frozen here, you practically don't lose anything because the wave's frozen. But you would get your back in right here with this amount of gold. I believe you could either get Zerkers, you could get Phage with some boots and a pink, and like I guess a dagger. Like you get really good items here, which it's not only important to get them because like you have to understand, this lead doesn't mean anything if you don't spend it, right? Because what do leads mean? What do kills mean? Kills, right? Kills mean gold. Minions, gold. The whole game, think of it in terms of gold. And because of that, your gold is useless if you don't spend it. If it's in the fucking bank, just chilling there, you essentially don't have a lead. Like, you do, sure, you have an XP lead, sure, you have a level lead, but, like, it's being mitigated because you're not actually putting that money to use. It's just fucking chilling in the bank. Right here, again, you don't push, you don't force the push, or you don't back, which is horrible. I'm not gonna lie, this will lose you games. And it probably has lost you games before. I don't know how often you do this, but this will definitely lose you games. Again, and this is what I mean. Like, what the fuck? What is this typing doing to help you in this game? This is bullshit. It's just a waste of time. Also, gotta keep in mind when you have the option. So if you didn't see, you have the option to back at around 7:38, I believe, right? Yeah, you kill her, you start spamming. Yeah, that's fine. 7:38. Look at when she comes back into lane. Let's pay attention to this. You're kind of just, again, not forcing the push. You're kind of just last hitting, which isn't terrible in every situation, but in this situation, it's horrible. Again, two things I notice here. One, you click to level up. That's something to do with your hotkeys. It's not gonna like, this isn't gonna like keep you in bronze because you're clicking, right? Like I did this up. I did this up to recently, if I'm being honest with you. But it's a bad habit to build. It's a horrible habit that I had, and that I'm still struggling to get over. But you have to get over this, because this has potential to fuck up your game. Not like it's, I'm not gonna say it ruins your games 100%, but it's one of those things where, like, if you if the only reason you're not doing it is because you're not used to using the hotkey, then it's a horrible excuse. Because if the other way is just better in every situation, then why not do it? You know. So look at the hotkey for this and maybe bind it to something else, but try to not to click anymore. That's bad. Not only that, you're maxing W second, which is horrible. The reason being is you get way more value out of your Q to max second. So just so you know, when you max Q second, not only do you get more movement speed, but you get more damage. You get, I believe it's like 80.80 seconds for the movement speed duration, and like 30 damage for your Q, which is huge. 30 damage is pretty huge. While W max, it does give you a longer W duration, but it only gives you like a 25% increase on the shield it gives you. Not only that, you have to think about why you're using W on Garen, right? And I've seen you. I think you're using it properly. You use W when they're using their burst on you. When you're going for the all-in, right? Typically, you don't need longer than like 2 seconds, which is a standard that it gives you. Not only that, but the real value out of W is that it's a scaling ability. I don't know. I'm sure you've read it, right? But when you hit 120 CS with Garen, your W gives you like an extra 30, or it gives you an extra 10% armor and magic resist on top of the overall 30 armor and magic resist it gives you for killing all those minions. That's huge. That happens with just a level 1 ability. You don't have to put anything extra into that for that to happen. So the way you get real value out of that spell isn't even by maxing it second. It's by maxing it last, because it's already scaling on its own. The reason, like the W duration does feel better, but it only feels better in team fights when the fights actually last longer than 2 seconds. Here in this, and think about how often you fight down in this lane, like actually where you need to use W, like it doesn't last more than 2 seconds, if that. So you're kind of cucking yourself by doing that. And then this is where you get in a bad situation. So again, this all stems from you not pushing before, not maintaining the freeze, not backing before. This all stems from like something that you did 4 minutes ago. We see Ka coming topside. He just killed mid. He's probably huge. You don't look at this is where it's important to look at him to see how low he is or if he used anything, right? But he no one says anything here, right? So we can assume that if he just fucking killed her, she said, he's probably relatively healthy. He's looking topside, so we know he's in this area, right? And look at what your wave is. Because you didn't push before and because you didn't back, not only do you have no items, you have no ignite, you have no ult. Now you're forced to push this wave in. Because if you don't push it, Diana can potentially freeze it. And you're losing golden XP, which sucks. You have such a huge lead already. But now you're forced to push it with Ka on the top side. So let's look at what happens. So look, here. Look at where the wave is crashing. Like, this is horrible. Ka can come here. You have no wards, which is crazy because we know Ka's in the top side. We saw him there. You did not ward. You still have 2 wards since the beginning of the game. And we're 8 minutes in, which is horrible because there's already been 2 instances where we're minimum. I think it's like 3, actually, that Ka's been here and you haven't warded. Again, this is like... Oh, you actually... Okay, never, not again. I thought you were going to miss that one. But see, like, now you're forced to be here. Okay, sure, you go ward now, which is, again, this is a late response. But this whole position that you're in right now, you shouldn't even have to be here. These are decent wards. There are some better wards, but these aren't bad. Okay, you go in. You start harassing her, but keep in mind, we know Kha'Zix is here. Sure, you get a decent trade, but technically, like, think about how much more damage you would have done if you had spent this 2.3k gold. Just think about it. You could have literally killed her at that point, honestly, because you have ult up right now. Like, you could have probably just ran her down and killed her again. I mean, you shouldn't be in this position, sure, but it's something to keep in mind. And I believe this is where you get punished for this. We see Fizz here. Because it's a consequence of what we talked about before, where you were pushing because you didn't freeze before, and you are essentially forced to play this up. Now it doesn't work because Fizz is level 6 and you're level 8, sure, but think about it. He's 0-2 with 29 CS. If this was literally any other elo, you would have just died for free for this. Like you just would have. You have no extra stats because you haven't bought anything, and he's fucking you. I mean, like, sure, you fuck him here because he's like, but I'm telling you, you can't think this is good because you don't die for this. This is the worst play you can make at this point. And it only works out because they're bad. But that's not going to be the case every game. It's just not. And again, this is where this is more so like, I believe we get a kill here. But this is like, this could be so much more detrimental to them if you actually had spent this gold. Okay, she gets the kill there. And then I think this is funny. Again, it's one of those instances where before, what you were like on the level 1 or 2, you were looking around the whole map with your map, right? But here, where it actually matters, you don't even pay attention. Sure, you're pinging that you have to push the wave, but look at them. Look, Diana's on her. Fizz is right there. Fizz is also going to her, right? You look once, you ping her off, but then you don't look anymore. What are you doing here that you're not? You could literally, first of all, you're Garen. You know you can just run at them at this point, right? Not only that, like, at this point, look, pan your camera to them at least. You're walking to them. You don't have to worry about anything else. Okay, she fucks up her flash. Boom, done. And obviously you kill it, right? Sure. That doesn't always work. Not only that, like, again, think about the steps that you could have taken before this. Like, it works out, sure, but it's not, you can't keep that in, like, you can't reinforce bad habits by thinking that it was okay because it actually worked. Here, I believe going for the plate here is fine. Some junglers may want you to help them, and honestly, I would say maybe get these 2 plates, then go help them, and then back. See, you're forced to TP here. You would go help them and then back. Easy back timer, super easy. But you don't. You kind of just stare, like you kind of just don't do anything. Now she doesn't have flash, to be fair, but you don't either. And the reason that's important is because of what you do here. So you start to push in the wave. Cool. This is a perfect back timer. Again, typing useless, wasting your time. Kha'Zix, we see Kha'Zix die right here, so we know Garen's not top, but we don't see Fizz, right? We don't see Fizz, and we can assume he's back up. Boom, and what do? We don't see Fizz, and you just walk under tower with no flash. And again, like, sure, this works out, but just think about it. You have no flash, you have no ult. You're under tower. If she uses combo, even if she alone uses combo on you, she can keep you under tower. And because what are you gonna do? You just W? Sure, I guess, and you take the trade for free. If you try to trade back, you get tanked by tower, and you can't. This is a horrible state. And not only that, if Fizz was here or here, you just die. You just die for free. So horrible spot to be in. And you didn't even get anything for it. You just get half your HP chunked for no reason. Here we go. I think at this point, this is like more shenanigans, really. I'm gonna skip ahead because this has already gone for a bit. Yep, just more shenanigans at this point. There's a couple other things I wanted to cover. More so just like things like this. Like you have no wards. We don't see Fizz. We don't see Ka. We see Warwick in the bot side. Sure, we can assume that because Dragon's up, they may want to go here, but it's an option that they have. I mean, Warwick is fed. They could just say, "Fuck it, we're not gonna get drag. Let's just go top to get something else, right?" But you just don't respect it, and you keep going in. And you've had so ample back opportunities at this point. Like, it's so bad that you haven't backed here yet. They double killed bot. So again, and we see Fizzer and Kha'Zix. Okay, so now we see, okay, now they're all bot side. This is where you back. Like, they're all bot side. You have the perfect back opportunity here. It's not bad to push it in, sure. It's not. It's honestly not, especially because they're dead. You can push this in and then get a supremely good back. Like, you've had so many good back opportunities at this point. But you don't do that. You, again, right here, boom, super good back time. You have a gig amount of gold. It's super pushed in. You know they have drag, so they don't need you. Like, this is all free. And not only that, if you back now and they happen to show up at drag again, I mean, which I don't believe they don't have the time to do so, but just in case, you can back them up by walking towards them. What do? You walk up and auto the thing like 3 times, 4, cool. Look, right there. If she if she had a brain, she could kill you here, man. Not only that, Kha'Zix is up. If we look at the timers that you see right here, Kha'Zix is up now at this point. You could get punished for this. Fizz is up now, right? Fizz is up, Kha'Zix is up, you have a super amount of gold, you have no flash. But what do? You go back in again. We see Diana back. If she backs there, it's fine. The wave would stop at a neutral position. Like, that's good. That's good for you. Because you don't really lose anything for that. And then, sure, you can say you get greedy and then push this in. And then, but, like, what do you do here? Nothing. You, again, Giga push. We know Kha'Zix is up. We know Fizz is up. And you're still here. With no vision at that. Like, sure, you got one river brush. They just walk up through here and you're dead. They walk around here and you're dead. Like, I don't know. It's like, this is so bad. Now here, now here your passes here. You're like asking for them. Please kill me for free. Please, I'm begging. And sure, again, this is bronze, so they don't do it. But I guess you can also say, okay, maybe they dropped Herald, and so they go bot. Sure, I guess. Sure, fair point. But think about it. You would not be in this position with 4.3k gold if you backed like fucking 7 minutes beforehand, man. You like it. This is such a bad spot to be in. Such a bad spot. At this point, okay, we know they're bot side. Fair, fine, okay. Turret pushed in. Back. Such a free back. What do? You threaten her. You threaten her by staying. Why? You have 4 point. Think about how easy you could just run her down and just get to like fucking inhib turret at this point if you just spend this gold. You stay. So not only at this point, not only like you could say, sure, I'm staying to be greedy for turret plating. Turret plating falls at 14 minutes. So now the gold you get from killing this tower would not be any different at all, especially since first tower already went down. So really think about why you're staying at this point, just for like 2 seconds. Again, perfect back opportunity. Dinah nowhere to be found. Sure, she's missing. Sure, like maybe you want to punish for a roam TP. Sure, but you shouldn't be in the spot to begin with. So no, that's not even a thing really. Like. Sure, you get greedy for the turret. But at this point, like, even if you kill turret right here, what does that give you that wouldn't give you if you just back and kill the turret after, right? Right here, finally back, right? No, wrong. Still no back. And not only that, not only do you not back, again, no Kha'Zix, no Fizz showing, no Dana showing. You're just asking to get fucked here. And I'm willing to bet you've been in this state before and you've gotten punished in this state before. Because you're still doing it. So, I mean, like, I don't know. Boom. Kill the wave. Simple, she's missing. Sure, she probably AFK. Whatever. You kill the turret. That's fine. Nothing. I mean, like, you getting the turret there does not change anything that would have happened. Could have changed before. Here, good armament. Sure, you get Triad, Berserks. You could bought 2 pinks here. Actually, no, you could have bought 1 pink here. Could have waited for a second. Not really worth it. Generally speaking, you want to have 1 ping on the map, or sorry, 1 pink on the map and 1 ping in your inventory at all times. That way you can move it if you want to, or you can like reapply it if it gets taken or whatever. Pinks last forever if they're not killed. So if you get a good pink, you get so much value out of it. So much value out of it. It's just not much. And honestly, the rest of this game is kind of shenanigans. I just want to get to the end bit. One last thing I want to cover. Not to say that there's not late game things that you can work on, but in this game it doesn't matter. So there's not good reasons to highlight it. Um, but the last thing I want to cover is at this point, team's going to Drake. We know Drake is up. No, I mean not only is this back bad. Well, actually, this back is good. Sorry, this back is good. You push enough to get pressure onto your lane. You get a free back. Can get a free back here, right? You get a free back, especially with the empowered recall. It's super fast. What you should do is you back, buy, immediately go here. Why? Because they could threaten here. You go here, and then you guys can go here and just end the game, right? Right. What do you do though? What? You go back, and you go to red. And we see the consequence of this because they have time to go from here to here to here. That's like the amount of time that takes is just bonkers. From here, think about it. From here, while you're backing, already backed, to here, to here, and the time it could have just taken for you to go right here. Like, in any other game, you get Giga punished for this. Like, this is just a really bad call.
That was nice.
Kha'Zix is behind. See, look at the position Kha'Zix is threatening to flank. You would have already been here, and you either solo killed him or stopped him. If Kha'Zix is fed, or if anybody was fed, or anybody had any sort of brain in this game, your team could lose for this because Kha'Zix gets a good, easy flank on the back line.
That was just in a draft.
Look, and then I think he kills somebody for it. So that's more so to do. Again, that's map awareness. That's macro. I don't want to go for any longer because I've already went through so much in this. It's already going on an hour. But try to keep these things in mind because sure it worked out in this game because you were. I mean, well, not because of you, because of your team was doing better. And the enemy team is brainless because it's bronze, right? But you don't want to if you start relying on this play style. To climb, you're not going to climb. Because if you're relying on your team to just be better to mitigate your mistakes, then you just are essentially coin flipping every game. If you get a bad team one game, then you're fucked. Versus if you get a decent team you can carry, even if you get a bad team you can carry. So don't play like this, man. The main thing you should be working on is the CSing. Like I said, hop in practice tool and CS. Just buy your Dorn shield and walk up to lane level 1, your top lane if you want, and just start CSing. Look at how you can get level 2, which is the 7 minions that I told you about. What the hell is that? The 7 minions that I told you about. Walk, and then try to get to 10. Try to aim for the 10 CS a minute mark. I'm not gonna say you're gonna get it all the time. I don't even get it sometimes because it's like it's essentially perfect CS. So, but 10 CS a minute, so 100 CS at 10 minutes. Try to get that by only auto attacking first, and then after doing that, after you can get used to doing that, try to do it by mixing in your spells. Because if you can perfect that while you have no pressure, it's going to reflect when you do have pressure. Because now you don't have to think about it. Now it's like, okay, I got it. I know how to do it. It's like it's muscle memory. So that way, when you do have pressure, you're not worrying about CSing. You're just worried about the jungle pressure, or the enemy laner, or whatever, or the mid pressure, whatever. You want to have that. You want to be able to have that freedom to focus on that rather than just focusing on the CS. And then again, maybe do some rebinds or looking to do some rebinds. Not saying that you have to, but just look at what they are and see if those work for you. And if not, change them. Back timing, roam timing, wave management. CSing, again, macro, movement, paying attention to the map, like all of that stuff that can easily be improved, and all of that is what it takes not only to get out of bronze, but what it takes to get someone to to diamond. I believe that anybody can get to diamond 4 without just by getting those things done. You don't have to be a nuts player to get to diamond 4. You really don't. You master those things, you can get there easily. Actually, honestly, if you really master those things, you can get to the master tier. That's what it's called. But before that, you kind of, I don't know, get stuck in bronze, I guess, or get stuck in gold, or whatever, right? So keep those things in mind. If you have any questions, let me know, man. Because I don't know how much I explained. I just realized that we're about an hour already. But just keep in mind all the like this video is an hour long. Probably half of that was like the first 6 minutes. Just keep that in mind about how much those little things compound and add up into the game, because they may seem little, especially to a new player, but it's those things that add up and decide the rest of the game. But like I said, man, let me know if you have any questions, and you just go ahead and hit me up.